Yo, what's good? It's your boy Dot from Dot Me Now Coaching and Entertainment. For coaching, my links are down below. In fact, until August 22nd, I am actually doing half off on various different spiritual services. So if you guys want like a little shadow healing and integration, you guys need some timeline surfing, you guys need some motherfucking astral divination, you guys need some chakra healing and stuff like that, whatever, spirit guide reading, whatever. I got a lot of services half off. All you have to do is simply go to my YouTube channel and then click on the community tab and then just scroll down to the post that talks about the half off genie, how you could just simply DM me and say half off genie and then get half off of the various services which are listed inside that post. And yeah, I also have courses down below. Now, also, if you go to the link tree down below, you will see I have an astral projection course currently out now. It's very fire. So, yeah, if you guys want to go check that out, go check that out. And let's get into this video, right? I want to talk about three types of like spiritual paths or like three types of archetypes which different spiritual people may embody and stuff like that. I'm gonna talk about kind of like what they are, what the gifts and abilities are and stuff like that, and kind of how to tell if you are one a little bit and how they like embody each one. So let's get right into it. The first one we're gonna talk about is the shaman. So you guys gonna peep me looking at my phone because I made sure to like list certain things so I don't like skip anything. But the first one is the shaman, right? So the shaman is pretty much described by these traits right here. They pretty much focus on keeping a constant connection to the spirit world and other spiritual entities, right? That's the main thing of the shaman. Being connected to the spirit world and the various different spiritual entities which live inside the spirit world. It could be different like power animals, ancestors, spiritual teachers. They just want to be connected to the spirit world, right? And they do it for various different purposes. So some of the abilities and powers of the shaman is that they're able to travel to the spirit world, right? Essentially do astral projection, which by the way, I actually did talk about shamanism inside of my course, along with how they astral project versus how certain other people might astral project. Because shamans, when they do shamanic journeying, it's not always like I just see myself come out my body. It's not always like that. So I kind of explain what it's like for shamans inside the course, right? But when it comes to shamans, right, they're able to travel to the spirit world, right? They could transition over into the astral plane, talk to different beings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They could also like go into different trances and then either get information from spirits or let the spirit actually integrate with them, right? So since they're always connected with that world, they could easily contact different beings from those or from that world, right? From the spirit world, right? And when I say spirit world, I'm using that term very loosely, right? That's a very loose term when I say that. But I just mean like the more non-physical sides of reality. They're connected with that and the different beings on those non-physical sides. So they could also integrate with spirits. They could like channel them and stuff like that, or just simply talk to them. They could also harness like the different powers of different spirits in order for like healing, or it could be for like some other purpose. Like let's say they need strength at that current moment, they'll use it for strength and stuff like that. There's actually a show called The Shaman King. I recommend watching that show. That show is fucking fire, bro. I just finished that shit. That shit is so hard, bro. I fuck with shaman. I fuck with the Shaman King deep and shamanism altogether deep as hell. Especially because I've been connecting a lot with like some African ancestors, especially like ancient African shamanic tribes on like some Nigerian shit and stuff like that. So I've been really fucking with that, right? But now people also do mention how like let me not say that. Let me not say people mention, but oftentimes when people think about shamans, a lot of people think about different plant medicine, right? So they oftentimes are skilled with different herbs and different plant medicines, and they often get taught about the properties from different spirits, right? But they don't actually need these different herbs and plant medicines in order to connect with these different spiritual entities, right? It's just that it makes it easier. And oftentimes the spiritual entities that they connect to before even taking the shit, they tell them how to use it properly and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of the shaman. All in all, They like staying connected with the non-physical parts of existence and being able to contact different beings from that world. And they can also travel over to their world if they need to. But now let's talk about the yogi. So the yogi is concerned about unifying and staying unified to source. Now, a yogi could do many things, right? Like, I'm gonna explain which one of these different archetypes. I'm gonna explain which one has the power to do the most things. But let me just say right now, it's probably the yogi, and I'm gonna explain that more at the end of the video. But when it comes to the yogi, they're able to do many different things, right? However, you would mainly notice a yogi by they would have like transcendental wisdom, right? Like they would have wisdom that transcends the physical plane, and they would have a lot of wisdom about source and about the divine, right? They will likely have a certain level of like peace or like balance inside their life. Like not many things could throw them off their course and everything like that. Also, like they would have like a pretty unshakable consciousness, or they would be more conscious than other people, right? So somebody like them would be like more aware and perceptive than most regular people. So when it comes to a yogi, they could also do things like fucking levitate and stuff like that, but yogis don't care about levitation. Like yogis do develop different cities, right? They develop, when I say cities, I don't mean like city, I mean SID, that shit, right? SIDDHS? HISIDDIHS, something like that. I'm probably spelling it wrong, but those, right? Different spiritual powers. Yogis do obtain various different spiritual powers as they're on their path to enlightenment, but that's not their main goal. Their main goal is enlightenment. So that's why yogis could do various different things, but their main thing is about being unified to source. And you would notice it by their they would have like all this they would have all this wisdom. They'll be like pretty like intellectual, or I'm not saying intellectual, but they would be pretty wise and they'll be pretty smart. Maybe not always intellectual, but they could be very intellectual also, you know. But they're definitely gonna be wise and smart, and you're definitely gonna notice that that they're pretty conscious and calm, and that they have like a pretty like balanced perspective. Like the way they fucking talk to you might be in fucking like not all yogis are gonna talk in fucking like code and stuff like that, but like they're more likely to talk in code. Like for example, I am the everything and the nothing, right? That's what I mean by talking in. It's not really a code, but they would say like these different paradoxical statements. Because how are you everything and nothing? Like it actually does make sense when you understand source and all that other stuff. But like from a basic standpoint, saying that I am everything and I am nothing, that's a contradictory, paradoxical statement. But a yogi would be known for that because yogis understand that life is a fucking paradox and a contradiction. Literally, because like, bro, literally, here's why life is a paradox, right? Right now, we're experiencing each other as separate, but we're all one. How is one being seeing itself as separate? And the thing is, this one being is also everythingness. So it's like this being is everything, which includes multiple things than one thing, but it's also nothing, which includes no things. Like literally, it doesn't make sense. Reality literally doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I mean, it actually does, but it doesn't because, like, once again, we are one being experiencing ourselves as separate, which is kind of weird. You know, this is based upon paradox and stuff like that. So with that being said, yogis understand the paradoxes of life, and they would oftentimes speak of them. They may say that they may come off as very neutral, you know. And the thing is, that doesn't mean that they're not like that doesn't mean that like they wouldn't like help people. Like they would help people for a fact probably, but it's like if they saw suffering, they would be like, that's like that is just suffering. Like it just is. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they really have no like of course some people who are like because a yogi is someone who is fully unified to source. A yogini is a female who's practicing yoga, and then a yogin is a male who's practicing yoga. So a yogin and yogini, they might still be biased towards certain shit. But once they become an actual yogi who's unified to source, they will be pretty neutral and impartial to life. It's like, yeah, they'll do their thing over here, but if it don't work out, it's like, nigga, it is what it is. Like, they don't really care like that because they understand that nothing matters because, nigga, like, they're all, like, we're all source and that, like, they just see the truth of life, you know? So that's how yogis kind of are. So when it comes to the magician now, the magician is mainly focused on manipulating energy in order to achieve various different goals. I'm also going to talk about which one of these is more spiritual than the rest, which you guys could probably assume which one that is, right? But the magician is mainly focused on manipulating energy in order to achieve certain goals. So when it comes to the magician, they may or may not work with different entities, but oftentimes when they do work with entities, it's only for the power of the entity. And so that way the entity could do certain things for them. Like a shaman would be cool with an entity and which is like be their friend type shit. A fucking shaman would help a fucking ghost move on to this. A shaman would help a ghost move on to higher planes, right? A magician wouldn't really care about that. Like they're not trying to help a ghost out to move to higher planes. They're trying to find different entities which can help them with their goal. And they want to use the energy of the entity and the power of the entity in order to manifest a certain thing, right? So they may or may not work with entities, but they're definitely able to harness energy in order to gain various different powers and to create various different results, right? So magicians could harness energy from like the elements, from different plants, from crystals, from animals, even different beings, right? They learn how to harness energy from something. Now, magicians could also be pretty good with herbs, like a witch, for example. Like most, like not let me not say most, but a lot of people know about witches for their uses of herbs and stuff like that because they harness magical power from the herbs. Not every magician slash mage slash witch slash wizard is gonna use herbs, but some of them will, and when they do, they tend to have a good knowledge about them, right? But they could overall harness different energies in order to manifest certain things, right? And they're also able to like manipulate the world and bend the world to their will and bend the world to their will. And they're also able to bend, like, obviously if they could bend the world to their will, they could also like make situations work in their favor, right? And magicians oftentimes also have some kind of, if you're a good magician and like a high ranking wizard, warlock, mage, whatever the fuck, you tend to have a decent understanding of human psychology too. Like you will understand how different gestures would affect the human mind and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You will understand how different scents affect the human mind. You will understand how different spells and words affect the human mind. You know what I'm saying? Because a big part of magic is psychology. Because understand this. Like before you affect the physical world, right? You must bring energy down through all the 12 planes, right? One of those planes is mental before it hits astral and then etheric, right? Like a lot of when y'all niggas be seeing magic, like let's say I do this shit, you see a fucking green sparkle. That's because that green sparkle shit is mainly etheric turning into physical energy, right? But before I had that etheric energy, I actually had to have the thoughts about the energy and the image in my mind about the energy, and then actually manifest it and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they work a lot. So yeah, when you see the effects of magic, it's mainly etheric and stuff like that. When you see the effects of it, understand that it's generated first by the mental. You know what I'm saying? Like it's first brought in through the mental before anything. So yeah, magicians are able to like manipulate different parts of life and stuff like that. Now the thing is, how would you know which path is best for you, right? So honestly, you may honestly choose different paths as you grow inside of your life. Like when it comes to being a yogi, the yogi has the most potential and they can be seen as like the most spiritual because they're literally the most of, like, the word spiritual means to be of the spirit, right? A yogi would be the closest to the spirit because they're actually unifying with source. Like the shaman may integrate with different entities, but those entities aren't source. However, the shaman has more of a chance of being spiritual opposed to the magician because the magician is the one who's most likely to be corrupted by ego and stuff like that because they have their own desires that they're trying to manifest. However, someone could be in line with source fully and then still do magic. Like some niggas could be unified to source, but then still do magic because, like, let's say while being unified to source, you just feel like source wants you to manifest some shit. Like, let's say it's fucking world peace, right? Okay, now you do fucking rituals for fucking world peace. Like that could actually be a thing too. So when it comes to the yogi is the most diverse. It's just that the yogi only cares about being unified to source. But while being unified to source, they may do many different things. They may fucking go to the spirit world. They may fucking perform healings. They may do magical rituals. You know what I'm saying? Whatever source leads them to do, they're gonna do that shit. You see? So the yogi has the most potential for everything. Now when it came to me, right? I always been more of like a yogi ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got my past life shit, is when I started practicing heavy yoga types, like Egyptian yoga, like deity yoga and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I was practicing deity yoga, unifying with different deities to eventually unify with source. Right? That's what I was doing. You know? And I still do my yogic shit. Nowadays, I mean, I honestly like I do shamanic shit and magical shit too. I probably do more shamanic things than magical things, but honestly, I'm doing both, you know? Like, shamans could also do magic because a shaman could connect with the spirit world, right? And then learn about different energies from the spirit world, and then also how to harness them inside the physical. You see what I'm saying? So it's like all of these different paths can intermingle and interlink. For me, my favorite is the path of the yogi because nigga, you're always unifying with source, right? It's like as a magician, you could become a great magician, but if you're not being in line with source, it's like not really benefiting you like that. You see what I'm saying? Same with shamanism, right? Now, granted, as a shaman, you are more likely to be connected with source, but you're still talking to other entities which are not aligned with source. So that means that you could talk to entities which lead you astray, or simply you can want to use like even like for example in the Shaman King, right? In the Shaman King, there's actually people who treat their spiritual servants as slaves. You know what I'm saying? And actually, there's actually an evil guy in the show who wants to become Shaman King. Now, I'm not gonna say how the show ends, but the show ends in a really cool way. I actually like how the show ended, right? But long story short, a shaman can be unified to source, but not as unified as a yogi. Like when a yogi speaks to you, a yogi is speaking most of the time from the information that they get from source. Not a yogin, like someone who's practicing yoga might speak to you from scripture, but an actual yogi who's unified to source, they would likely speak to you from the perspective of their source wisdom. A shaman, though, might teach you based upon what they learned from different entities. You see what I'm saying? And it's not fully from source. That's why the yogis oftentimes seen as having all this crazy transcendental wisdom and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the yogi has the potential for most, and it's the one that will keep you unified. It's the one that will keep you unified to source at all times, and it's also the best path for awakening your natural spiritual gifts. And I'm saying that because while you're getting in tune with source, you'll get urged to do certain things. Like, well, fuck, like for me, I was urged to be on some shamanic shit and some magical shit. But when I do it, it's on some source shit. For example, on some shamanic shit, I do talk to different spiritual beings, you know? Like I'll talk to aliens, right? Y'all niggas know that shit, you know what I'm saying? And shit that's not aliens. But I'm talking to them to gain more wisdom, which is going to help people with understanding source. Like for I mean, okay, like for like learning how to bend time and space. That is on some source shit, but also just on some me shit. But it's on some source shit because, like for example, right? If I could learn to manifest a super duper high timeline, I can manifest a timeline for the whole entire world that deals with everybody being unified to source. You see what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of my shit actually does deal with. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, one lesson in regards to controlling time and space is to actually include other people's desires inside of yours because everybody as a collective has an effect on what happens with this side of life. So if multiple people have a singular and aligned desire, it has more of an effect opposed to just you having that one desire. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I get taught about these things in a way that does include other people and is also unified to source shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll astral project to different places. Like for example, I've been going to Inner Earth a lot. I have videos about that on my Patreon. I've been going there to understand the Inner Earth more to bring the wisdom to humans because there's a lot of deceit that goes on, and it's like when people understand more of the history, it helps them connect back to the past and connect back to those parts of themselves that are actually in the past. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the shit that I do now, and when I do magic, is to manifest certain high vibe shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing magic to manifest fucking. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna manifest some money, but I'm gonna manifest money for a higher purpose. But I'm not manifesting shit like fucking females and a whole bunch of fucking pleasurable. Like, nah, nigga, I don't care about that shit. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? So that's why with the yogi, it's like the yogi has the most potential to literally do everything. Right now, granted, shamans can do magic, and magicians can do shamanistic shit. Like there's actually like people who would say there's people who would say I'm a magician, but they do travel to the spirit world in order to get different magical powers. That is a thing, you know. It's just that the magician is more focused on manipulating spiritual energy, right? So yes, they travel to the spiritual plane, but their whole goal is not being connected with that plane. That's the shaman's goal. But the shaman could also do magic, but that's not their main goal. So you get the point at this point, right? They could all take bits and pieces from the other, but the main goal is different. The yogi has the main goal of being unified and staying unified to source. The shaman has the main goal of being in contact with the spirit world and different spiritual entities. The magician has the main goal of manipulating different spiritual energies. You see what I'm saying? And that's it for this video. So, which one are you? Which one of the lines do you wanna manipulate energy? Do you wanna talk to different beings and stuff like that? Do you wanna just be unified to source type shit? This could help you decide which path is the right one for you. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I could pretty much end the video right here, right? So I love you all. I'm gonna catch you in my next video. Peace out.